Hi guys, it's Ashton Cartwright here. I just thought I'd walk you through an ad that I'm about to set up on Facebook for one of the books I publish. Facebook's one of the biggest advertising platforms in the world, so if you can get a little bit of those followers on Facebook onto your sales page, particularly if you target the right genres or the right readers, it can be quite a good way to boost your sales numbers. Alright, let's get into it. First off, before we go to setting up the ad, I'll show you the book that we're promoting. Now this is my brother's box set of his first 3 books in his action adventure series, the Sam Riley series. And these ones are actually audiobooks, but they obviously also exist as Kindle and paperback. But we're going to be pushing the audiobook sales today. So the targeting will be a little bit different because we'll be targeting audio listeners rather than targeting, say, Kindle Unlimited readers. Other than that, though, it's basically the same principles. So what we'll do is we'll start over here at Facebook, and this is my just regular Facebook page, and we hit create. There's a few things that they see if you want to create. Ours is an ad. We're not interested in creating a new page, new group, event, nothing like that. We just want to go straight to creating an ad. Alright, so we'll take you to the Facebook Ads Manager. Now, I've already established an account, so I've put in all my payment details and things like that there. If you haven't done that before, it'll prompt you to add that information first before you go to what they call the campaign, which is where we are now. So there's a bunch of different options here of what you're looking for and whether you want to just build brand awareness, reach, install an app, video views, get someone to message you on your Facebook page. It's a whole bunch of things. For authors, it's almost without exception best to start by just focusing on traffic. If you get a lot more sophisticated in terms of Facebook advertising, then there may be reasons to try some of these other things. But the vast majority of successful Facebook advertisement for authors is going to focus just on getting traffic to that sales page. Whether it's on Amazon or whether it's on iTunes or Kobo or Barnes & Noble or Smashwords, traffic is what you want. You want them to get to the sales page, so hopefully they will buy. So we will select traffic for our purposes. Campaign name. It's going to default to traffic. We're going to call it something more useful. Sam Riley Audible USA, because we're going to target the .com landing page, so we want the readers to be from the US. Now, obviously, a lot of people from any country can often use the .com site, but what we don't want is them to go there when they have their actual site that they usually use as .com.au for Australia or .ca for Canada. We want the people we send there to be poised and ready to buy straight away, ideally. There's a few options here. Create split tests. That's if you want to have 3 or 4 ads running, say with a different graphic or a different description, things like that. We're not going to bother with that for this one. We're just going to get straight into it. Optimizing budgets, again, that's not something you need to do on your first one. We're just going to leave everything as the default for this ad here. All right. So creating a new set of ads. In this instance, it will just be one ad. So we're going to call it the same thing. Sam Riley Audible USA. Now choose where you want to drive your traffic. For us, we're going to want them to go to the Amazon sales page, which is over here. This one right here, so they can get there and get their book with the minimum number of clicks. Every extra click they have to go through, for example, you send them to your page, then send them back, is another chance that perhaps they'll get distracted or something will fail to load or any number of things will happen. So you want it to be as quick and as easy for them to decide to buy and then to buy. We're doing a very basic ad, so we're not doing offers or dynamic creatives or anything like that. We're doing just the basics. because if you get the basics right, everything else can be fiddled around with later. So I'm going to create a new audience. I've got a few saved for various targeting things for various different authors that are writing different genres, but we'll start with the creating one from scratch here. Okay, so we're not going to target Australia. So I'm going to come down here first, which is the locations. This is basically where you pick the country more than anything else. You can, if you get really into it, target individual states, individual cities, but for our purposes, we're going to just go United States, and we're going to select include, which will be the default. You can also select exclude if you, for whatever reason, don't want to target a particular area. But we're going to go anyone in the United States. For this particular ad, we're going to target just men. You can also target all of them and see what happens with that, and then you can compare your results from one gender to the other. For this one, we're going to try targeting just men because the graphics I've made up have men on them listening to audiobooks. So I want to relate to the listening people of the right gender for this purpose. So we're going to go select men. We've also found for my brother's books, we tend to get more interaction with men through the Facebook ads. So they end up being a little bit cheaper to target as a readership. All right. So custom audiences, let's have a look here. You can reach people who've already interacted with your business if you want to target people who've, for whatever reason, visited either your website and you've tracked them that way, or your Facebook page. Or you can create lookalike audiences. These are not really in the scope of this video. They're a bit more high tech, and we're not going to bother using them. And I very rarely have cause to go even into this area. So we're just going to do the default. You can refine it more by selecting languages. I'm not going to bother. But if you're, for example, selling a how to learn English book to people who speak, say, Greek as a native language, you might want to select people who speak Greek there. All right, so this is the fun bit, or certainly the most interesting and relevant. Who do you want to target? So we're going to, you can browse through interests and behaviors. You might want to target someone who's into technology and consumer electronics. We're going to do it very straightforward though. We're going to go let me see here, people who like Audible.com. That's the website that has the audiobooks. Anyone who likes Audible, chances are they're also going to like Amazon.com because the two are basically the same entity. We could target just Amazon listeners, but the problem with targeting Amazon.com if you're trying to sell the audiobook is there's it'll say over here 355 million people who like Amazon.com and about 10 million who like Audible.com. So you're going to get a lot of overlap there if you target both of them, where a lot of people might not actually listen to audiobooks, but just like Amazon for buying their white goods or their clothing or anything like that. If you were going to target readers on Amazon, you might want to target something like Kindle Unlimited. So I'll just get rid of both of these for a moment. If your book is in Kindle Unlimited, obviously. Or the Kindle store. There you go. That would target people who have liked the Facebook page on Kindle. But for us, we're going to go Audible. So we want people who already listen to books and who will be willing to take a chance on a new author. All right. So here's a reasonably new option. Expand interest when it may improve performance at a lower cost per result. I don't usually bother with that because I really want everyone to be fans of Audible.com. It's worth setting up sometimes two ads, one where you select that, one where you don't, and see what works best for your particular genre or readership. But we're going to leave that blank for now. connections. So you can target people who like your page, friends of people who like your page, or exclude people who like your page. Again, we're not going to worry too much about that. At the moment, we're targeting everyone in the US who likes Audible.com, which is potentially about 1 million people. If we add a group of people who like your page, because my brother's only got a couple hundred people there, I'll show you what happens here. So now the audience is people who like Audible and who like Christopher Cartwright. Because he's got less than 1,000 people, it's saying you're not reaching many people because our audience is too specific. So that basically means that Facebook won't show our ads to anyone. So we're going to ignore that. All right, so we're all set. We're targeting people in the United States, every age, just targeting men who like Audible.com. All right. Okay, so automatic placements is the default, which will show you your ads everywhere. And Facebook has a lot of space to show ads. So we're going to actually edit placements so we can select the places we wanted. For this particular purpose, we don't really want Instagram to show up for our ads. We've found previously that they don't do great for selling audiobooks. Instagram's a very visual medium, and it's just not the right way to do it. Messenger, we're still sort of finding out about, so we're going to leave those. Audience network, this is when Facebook has a relationship with another site. Your ads might appear on those sites. We're going to probably leave that blank for now. We basically just want Facebook. And everywhere on Facebook is fine. We'll leave the Messenger ones in there as well. All right, so all devices, what they recommend. You can select just mobile, just desktop computers, or both. We're going to leave both there for the moment. After your ad's running for a little while, you can have a look and see which ones you're getting best results with, and then reevaluate. You might want to target one more than the other, for example. But at the moment, we'll just leave that as is. If, for example, your product you're selling, say you're targeting your books that are published on iTunes, you'll probably want to target people who have iPhones rather than Android users, or so on and so forth. Likewise, if you're targeting people on Google Play as a reading base, you'll want to target only certain operating devices. We're going to leave all that as it is. Let us keep having a look. All right, daily budget. So the default's $20 US. If you're trying it out for the first time, it's generally considered a good idea to drop that down to maybe $5 or $10 to experiment first, because it's very easy to make a mistake somewhere and end up showing your ads to the wrong people. We're going to actually put it up a little bit, just because we've done this before and we're happy to spend a bit more money if possible. You won't necessarily spend all that money. In fact, often it'll spend a great deal less, but we're going to put it up there anyway because we're not too worried about that in this instance. We're going to run the ad continuously starting today. You can also set a start and end date, but we're happy to just set it and let it keep going. And it'll run for about 2 weeks. It'll run for, if they spend the full amount every day, it'll cost us no more than that. And that's a very large number, and you definitely shouldn't start off with those sorts of numbers. Okay, get more people to add a landing page. This is something we don't really have to worry about. We're going to send them to Amazon, and so we can leave that as it is without having to mess around. Now you can set a bid strategy, which is the most you're willing to bid on a click. So it's saying that the default here is $2 based on what we've targeted, which means we'll say, yes, we want Facebook to send people to this site we've picked. We're willing to pay $2 per click. If people are spending more than that, chances are they'll get the advertising space first. If they're offering less than that, we'll tend to get the advertising space first. $2 is way too much, since we only sort of make about $5 on an audiobook sale on average. And you'd only expect, if 1 out of every 10 people who click on your ad convert to a buyer, that's ordinarily a good result, particularly if you have more books in the series. That can be great. So it's important to know your ROI, so the minimum amount and the maximum amount you can spend comfortably to make a profit if people convert after clicking on the ad. If, for example, your cover's terrible and your blurb is just the words "I'm a fish" written 300 times in a row, chances are even people who click on your ad won't bother buying your book. So before you get to this stage, you want to make sure your cover is top-notch and matches the genre of your book, and your blurb is exciting and enthralling, so that people who get to that landing page will be willing to take a risk and buy your book. We're going to drop this down a fair amount. We're going to bid a maximum of 50 cents per click. It won't always cost that much. Oftentimes there'll be no one bidding on the keywords and such that we're targeting, or the people that we're targeting, so we might get it for less than that, but we won't ever have to pay more than that over the course of the campaign. All right, when you get charged, it's not super relevant. They'll charge you money one way or another, whether it's daily or weekly or monthly, or when a certain number of displays have been going. All right, so that's fine. Here we go. So default name, traffic, Sam Riley. This is what we're going to select there. So we're creating an ad, or you can use an existing post. We're going to create a new ad. Christopher Cartwright is the Facebook page that's going to be representing this ad. We're going to use a single image. There's a few different ones you can do there. Single image is almost inarguably the best for not only new authors, but for pretty sizable authors as well. These all have their time and place, but for just selling books, single image is what is going to do best almost always, particularly if you're new. All right, so we're going to upload an image here. Now these are images that I've had made up previously. I have no graphic design knowledge whatsoever, and I actually just used a guy from Fiverr to create this one. So I'll post the link to that designer below this video. If you want to use the same guy, that's fine. Even I'll post this image as well. I'll open it up here. So that's the image we're going to use. It's got graphic representations of the 3 audiobooks. Small amount of text. A small amount of text is important because if you have too much text, Facebook feels that it's an ad, and ads are no fun for the readers on Facebook, so they'll show your ad a lot less. Like I said, I'll post that image below, or if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll post it on the link below. It'll take you to my website. And if you want to use the same designer, go right ahead. You can even send him a copy of that image and say, I want something like this, if that's what you're after. I've got no problem with that at all. All right. So this is the graphic here. It's going to show, this is how it'll show up in the mobile newsfeed, desktop newsfeed, in instant articles, right-hand side of the ad, which you'll see these sorts of things down here. Mobile marketplace and Facebook stories. These are all sort of newer things that don't really get used quite as much as just the regular Facebook ones. All right, now some more fun. Here we go, the text to ad. Oh, before I go into the text, just one more thing regarding the amount of text on the graphic you use. Facebook has what's called a text overlay tool. If you just Google Facebook text overlay tool, you can actually upload your graphics and see if Facebook thinks there's too much writing on it. The different text ratings are here. The higher the text content of what you write, the less chance they'll show your ads. So I've had these few designed, and they all have about less than 15% text, excluding the books. But because the books are a product and you're showing an image of the product, they usually ignore that. So all these ones I've had designed are coming up as okay. So image text okay, so it'll run normally, which is pretty useful, because you'll find that the less your ad shows, the greater the expense that it'll be to have it going. All right, now we are going to put a bit of text in here. So we have, let's just go to the main desktop news feed. So this is some text. I'll update it here. You'll see this bit comes up top. Now what we want for this one is it's 26 hours of action and adventure for just 1 credit. Action adventure on Audible. I've got the notes over here. Now what you write here, there's a bunch of great books on what you should or shouldn't write here. The one I'd recommend is Michael Cooper's Help, My Facebook Ads Suck, and I'll put a link to that in the notes after this as well. But you'll see it pulls up there fine. We're going to get a little bit creative today and use a few other things here. The first one is a website called Yay Text. This lets you change the way your words look in Facebook by copying and pasting it. It's pretty cool. So 26 hours of action adventure on Audible for just 1 credit. You can make it appear upside down, although why you'd want to do that, I don't know. You can make it appear in these small caps fonts. You can make it bold and italics, cursive. Whether these things help or not, it's something that you probably need to test yourself. I like to use it because it's reasonably new, and things that are reasonably new often are more eye-catching. So for me, I don't mind spending a little bit of extra time messing around with the text. So I've selected one. Can't remember exactly which one I selected. I think it was this one here. But I saved it on my other Word file here so I wouldn't lose it when I was filming this. So we'll see how this goes. Now, I haven't tried this before, so I might look very silly in a moment. Let's see. There we go. So it's come in this italics and pretty cool. So that's not a terrible way to try things out if you want to get a bit of extra attention there. What I want after that is the blurb about Sam Riley, the super cool guy that he is, and I'm happy for that to just be in normal text. Okay, so that'll fill in itself there. I might just have a quick look at one of the other texts and see how that looks, which is this one here, which is just bold but not italics. Hit copy, and let's see if that looks better or worse. So it's just bold. I quite like the first one, so I'm going to put the first one back. Another thing you can do, which isn't done super often, is some emojis work quite well in ads. So what I've got here is I've pulled one up, and this is a website called emojipedia.org, which has a list of emojis that can be used in places like Facebook and a lot of other software. And I found the headphone one, which is going to match what we're doing here. I'll link this in the notes below as well. So we're going to put that at the start, maybe at the end. Maybe just one of them. Let's not get silly here. All right, so we're going to put one there. That is fine. Pretty cool. Now the website URL, I've got a link to the audiobook page. As we've already discussed, I will copy and paste it from my notes up here to make sure I don't do anything wrong. Now I'll update with the details of Amazon here usually. Amazon.com, excellent. And this bit down the bottom, it'll pull from Amazon if you leave it blank. We're going to mess around with it and add a headline here, which is a review that was on the Amazon page. We're going to add that in there. Okay, so a great series, highly recommended. It's going to replace a Sam Riley collection, because by the time we get to here, they're probably already aware that it's a Sam Riley collection. We're also going to be a bit ridiculous now, because this was a 5-star review. We're going to go back to our emoji, get a star, and slap that bad boy in there as well. Pretty cool. Now that won't show up everywhere. This is the desktop news feed, which is the biggest sort of space that you have there. A lot of the other ones will show up smaller. But that's great. That'll work fine. And we are done. So now we hit confirm. That goes off to the Amazon review team. They'll pretty much always review everything you do before they go about approving it, because they want to make sure you're not breaching any of the rules there or anything like that. Now, one other thing I want to mention before we wrap this up is a lot of the links that I've mentioned will be down below this video, so you can check them out, or if you want to use them or not use them, entirely up to you. And it's often good to experiment with these things, because what's working for one person may not work for another. Also, what used to work may not work in the future. Another thing is the book Help My Facebook Ads Suck by Michael Cooper. It's really good. Probably the best book on Facebook ads for authors. If you want more intense learning, and I probably recommend it, maybe not for a first-time author, but after you get a bit more established, there's Mark Dawson's Ads for Authors course. Now, I took the course, and it's not cheap. It's several $100s, and it's been amazing. I never tried Facebook ads, and I certainly never had success with them until I took the course. They're not always taking on new students. About twice a year, they open it up for new enrollments, but I'll post the link to that below as well. It might be something worth checking out if your budget can tolerate it. He also deals with how to do Amazon ads and Instagram ads and every form of advertising that authors may use or should use or shouldn't use. So it's, if you're going to be writing a lot, publishing a lot, marketing a lot, it might be a very good use of your advertising dollar to get that extra training in. My name is Ashton Cartwright. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure to follow us on YouTube if you're watching it there, or like our page on Facebook so we can keep you updated with everything we're up to. Have a great day.